Hello, welcome to the SEDM website, and thank you for watching this video training on how to use the Activism map. This video will take approximately 20 minutes, and we will show you how to locate members in your area to collaborate with, whether it be for activism purposes or for legal study purposes. This is an important subject because freedom can be lonely. It can be difficult sometimes to find people who share your political and legal and spiritual views. And so we're going to help you solve that problem and connect with like-minded people. There are many people on our website. At this point, almost 7,000 members. And we have at least one person in probably every county in the country who's a member. So this way you can locate those people anonymously and collaborate with them. What you have in front of you is the opening page of the SEDM website at sedm.org. And we have it open in the Google Chrome browser, which is currently the most popular browser. It has over a 70% market share. That is the browser we use to manage our website. We want to emphasize that the Activism map is a feature that is only accessible by either basic members or member subscribers. If you're a guest or you're not logged in, then you cannot access this feature. And we do that for several reasons, the most important of which is the fact that we want to protect your privacy, and we don't want visitors who are not members coming along and learning anything about your personal information. Currently, you can see that we are not logged into the website, and you can see that because there's a login area on the screen. That login area, the username and the password, will not appear unless you're not logged in. So if we try to go to the Activism map, which is on the Participate menu, and come down here to the Activism map, without being logged in, we will get a warning screen, and it'll ask us to either log in or register. So we cannot access the feature unless we're logged in. So the first step we have to do is log in. So we're going to log in. Hit enter, and we're logged in. So now we can see that we're logged in. We can see there's no longer a username and password area in the upper right corner of the screen, and we can see our username while we're logged in. So now if we go back to the Participate menu and the Activism map, and we click on it, then now we can see the Activism map. The Activism map feature is a graphical way of locating people, but there is also a non-graphical way, namely through the member profile fields, that you can also search for people, but we're only going to cover the graphical method of locating people. So what we have here is we have the Activism map, a geographical map of all the states, and all of these states, each one of them is hot linked. So if we click on any one of these states, we can drill down into that state and find the members who are in that state. We can also click textually on the name of the state on the left area. And at the bottom of the screen, we have information about how to use this map. We have video training, which is what you're watching now on YouTube. We have a local copy of that video training. We have activism resources so that once you do connect with people, you can know how to connect properly. We have an activism leader guide if you happen to be an activism leader. such as a state coordinator or a county coordinator. We have a jurisdiction database online, so you can look at the laws that pertain to that jurisdiction that you're looking at visually here. We have a PDF version of that database that you can download and use offline below that. We also have a list of state legal resources for each state, all the statutes, codes, regulations, constitutions, and so on for each state. And finally, we have a legal research sources, which is all resources on our site. And these last two items here, the state legal research sources and the legal research sources, are accessible on the litigation tools page under state legal resources here or legal research sources here. Same links. The jurisdiction database online and the database PDF version are also accessible from the here, jurisdiction database online. So there are lots of ways, and the non-visual or the PDF version is right here. So there are lots of ways to get this same information, and we try to do that to make it easier for you to find things, but also to minimize the clutter of the interface. You can also see that we have, at this point, over 6,000 registered users and growing daily. And we have lots of topics in our forums and forums to look at. And the forums are the main method of interacting with other members, unless you decide to connect with them personally through the Activism map. So the forums would be a textual writing-based method of interaction. And of course, you must be logged in as a member to post in the forums as well. Guests are not allowed to post. But let's try the Activism map now. So if we go to, let's say, Texas, which probably has more members than any other state, and we can just click on the name of the state, and it takes us to that state. So now we have a display of all the information available on that particular state. All the members, all the news, all the links, all the laws, all the leaders, and so on. So by default, when we open up, in this case, a state page, it says the great state of Texas, state page. There's also a county page as well, and you'll see that in a minute. But once we open up the state page, we have a state seal over here. We have a picture of the state with all the counties and the names of the counties. And we have all the members below that, members in this area. And we can scroll through all those members and see all the members. We have some little notes at the bottom of the screen. And we want to emphasize that these names that are appearing here are handles in the forums that you entered when you joined the site. These are not necessarily your own email addresses or your own personal names, and we discourage members from using their real legal birth names to register for the site. They should make up another handle, an anonymous handle that they use to interact with people. This here would be an example of how not to do it, because you don't want to use your email address because you're giving away your anonymity. But everybody else seems to be following what we just recommended, of having an anonymous handle that's not necessarily related to their birth name. But at the top of the screen here, we have a little menu. This will take us back to the opening page of the site, the home. Join will allow us to join the site. We can search members through their member profiles, which is a non-graphical way to search members here. We can go to the member forums and interact with them textually. We can look at all the laws that relate to this jurisdiction by clicking on Region Info. An example would be opening it up here. You'll see that. here's all the laws for that jurisdiction, Texas, the state of Texas. And so we can see all the laws, all the statutes, all the courts, all the reporters, and so on. So let's just close that. So that was under region info. There's also a menu entry at the top here for contacting us, the Contact Us page. Please follow the instructions on how to use that page and don't abuse it. And then here's a link to our YouTube channel if you want to watch our training videos. And then over here in the upper right corner we have page options. We can look at the county map for that area. We can look at members in that area, activism resources, a pleading library, video tutorial on how to use this page, the activism leader guide, activism training, activism leader training. And then we have down here we have a list of counties in this state. So we can drop this list down and select the county that we want to drill into. But by default, when we first open it, it'll go to the state. These are all the activism leaders in that state, Texas. There are a lot of them. And this is the state coordinator for that state. Blake is the state coordinator. And over here are a list of counties, the state government, the Constitution, and the statutes. If you click on any one of those, you'll see those. And then you have state news over here. And this is tied to the forums. You can see that there is a area in the forums for state news. Here it is, Texas State News. So the area in the forums is forums, state and county activism, states N through T. Texas is in that range. And then you have Texas, and then you have this Texas State News in the forums. So this here is the same list, this county list here is the same list that's up here. So we can drill into this state and look at all the people by county, because right now we're looking at everybody in that state. There's lots of members. So if, let's say we want to go to Tarrant County, right here, and we have to click on Find to open that up. And that will take us to that county. So now we're in the state of Texas, Tarrant County, and we're in the county page instead of the state page. We still have the state seal here. The menus on the top are the same. The areas, the page options are the same. The useful links are the same. But now we have activism team leaders for the county over here instead of the state. And we have the county coordinator over here instead of the state coordinator. And we don't have any news in the forums, a method to publish news in the forums, because there are way too many counties. There's over 3,200 counties in this country, United States of America, and that would just overwhelm our forums to create a forum for each individual county. So it says here that the county news is disabled, so there's nothing to click on here. That link will not work like it would in the state. And then we have the same picture of the state with all the counties. And here's a list of all the people in that county who are members. Now, if you want to click on one of these members, it'll take you to the forums and you'll look at that party's profile. So let's go to this fellow here. We'll open it in a new tab. And we will see that Conan, here's his member profile. And you can look at his profile here. If he has, you can see he's got his profile completed, which is really good because that makes it easy to find him. And I want to emphasize here that if he hadn't filled in this information, then he wouldn't show up at all in any of the searches that we're doing here. So going back to the activism map, all these people who are listed here, all of them at one time or another have gone in and filled in their member profile manually after they joined. If you never fill in your profile, you will never show up on this list. So if you want to be contacted and you want to collaborate and you want to form a law study group, it's very important that you fill out your member profile fields completely as you possibly can so that people can locate you. And you're not giving up your privacy to do that, because we never publish your email address on the site. Nobody can look it up. We never publish your real legal name. Uh, so we don't publish your phone number. We don't publish your street address. None of that stuff. This is just a way to contact people through the forum interface anonymously with a user handle that you pick, which is not necessarily related to your legal birth name. So we can see here that Conan has a profile, and he wouldn't have shown up on the map if he didn't have all of his profile fields filled in. And he's in Texas, Tarrant County, city of Watauga, in the zip. And we can see what his interests are. He wants to join a law study group. He wants to form an activism group in his area. He does not want to attend protests. And he does not want to be a state coordinator. He does not want to be a county coordinator, and he does not want to be an activism team leader. So he's interested in legal study. So this might be somebody you would want to contact. You can see all his friends here. You can see what his location is on a geographical map. So let's try that location thing, see if it's going to work here. Nope. Oh, there it is, Watauga, Texas. So that's what it showed you right there. So we'll close that. And we can see what his activities are. So we can see what he's been doing in the forums, you know, what kind of things he's been posting, what kind of messaging he's sending. And if we wanted to send him a public message to all users, we'd use this. But if we want to contact Conan privately and individually, and just him, so that no one else could read the message we send, we would click here on private message. So I'm going to click it, and then it's going to let us enter a message to him. And so he will send us a message, and then the next time we log into the site, we will see a notification. And we can respond to that message that was sent through this site interface. So you can see there's a method of messaging here that does not require email, does not require audio contact or physical contact. You just send messages through the site, and the messages are sent via email. So when you register, it's probably important to enter an accurate email so that people can send you these messages, because you'll never get them if you don't monitor the email address that you registered with. So if you change your email address or your email account, you probably want to go in and update it in your user profile on the site. So that's an example of how to find out the information about a user, how to contact them, how to send a private message, how to make sure that you show up on the map here, which is by populating your entire member profile fields, all of them, after you log in. And that process of entering that information is not mandatory. It's voluntary. We don't force you to do anything, and we never divulge your personal information without your permission. So let's look at some of these other links. Here's the county's map for this state, right here. So I clicked on that link, close it, that window. Members in this area will take us down here. So these are all hot links within the page, in the page options. These are all areas within the page that you can look at the different sections, usually, except for these here, the Activism Leader Guide and the Activism Training and so on. And here are the counties right there. The state government, this is a link to, that link looks like it needs to be updated. So the other way that you can locate these members, in addition to this Activism Map interface, is by searching the member profiles. And that would be done right up here. We click on Search Members. And this takes us to the member profiles search page, which, by the way, is also only accessible to logged in members. We do not want guests or anonymous people rifling through private information, your private information. So this is an example of how you would locate people textually. So you can type in the country letters or the county names or the state names or the zips or the cities. Uh, and you can also search by what the answers to their member profile field questions were. Like, do you want to join a law study group? So you can select yes or no. If they answered yes, you want to find all the people yes who are in the state of Texas, for instance, right here. Then after we do that, and the capitalization is important. So when you search, so make sure the capitalization is correct, and then we can just click on search, and that'll find all the people in Texas who fit that category, all those parameters. There they all are. Okay. So, and there's an asterisk at the end of this name of this page, which means you have to be logged in as a member to read this page. So let's hit the back button. So that's how we search people textually, by searching their member profiles. And that's something that we can't do from the graphical interface here. So you might want to use these two methods of searching to complement each other and to filter the people that you want to see based on the answers in their member profile. But once again, I want to emphasize that you must fill out your member profile if you want to be a party to any of these maps or any of the profile searches. Right now, there's probably less than half of the people don't fill out their profile field. So those people would never show up on this map, and they would never show up in the member profile search. And if you search for them, they would just not show up. They're still there. I mean, they may be active participants. They may use the site a lot, but they are what we might call lurkers. They just hang around and read, and they're passive participants. They're not active participants. And there could be many reasons why they want to do that. One reason might be because they are not compliant. And if they're not compliant, then they can't make demands on our resources, and they can't be an activism leader. And so they wouldn't want to be listed here. But they might want to have a study group, and they might want to participate in the study group. And so there are a lot of reasons why you really should fill out your profile fields. And you don't have to give up your personal information, because you're using an anonymous handle. Your phone number, your address, your legal birth name, your mailing address, all that stuff is not published anywhere. It's not made available to anyone else, regardless, through any of this interface that we have here. And likewise, you may be tempted to believe that, well, I ordered something from the bookstore and my information was disclosed at that point in order to complete the transaction, and I'm worried about whether people are going to see that. Well, no, you don't have to worry about that at all, because none of the bookstore transaction information ever ends up in either the member profile search or in the Activism map interface itself. So all of this stuff is anonymous method of searching for and organizing and contacting members through the private messaging interface integrated into the WordPress site that we have. Another thing we wanted to show you is, if you want to open up a link without losing your spot on the page you're on, we frequently like to just right-click on, and we've done this already in this video, but we like to right-click on the item and then select Open a New Tab, and that way we don't lose the page we're on. So if we do that, it just opens up a new tab with that information in it. And once we're done with that, we can go back to the page we were on. So that's a very helpful method of using the interface without getting kind of distracted by having to hit the back button and figure out where you were. The other thing we want to show you here, now that we're done pretty much with the activism map, let's hit the home button, go back to the home, is the member forums are also require you to be a member to access them. So if we click on member forums, you can see that there's an asterisk here, which means you have to be logged in. Everything that requires some method of, a login or some method of membership always is followed by, is preceded by a horizontal line in the menu. So everything below this line is all of the access control stuff. So, and what we just looked at on the Activism map page is also accessible here, the member profile search. It's the same thing we just looked at. We have the Activism map, we have the member locator, which is another kind of interesting interface. Here that is. That's a, yeah, okay, there it is. This one actually shows you a map. So it's the same method of searching. You can fill in the same information as the member profile search. But in this case, it's going to show you all the members graphically where they are. And it's kind of a nice interface, but and you could easily get distracted with this. Like, if we typed in Texas here, and then we filled out all the people that want to join a law study group, and we hit submit, then it would show us all those people, okay? And so here they all are. And the thing you have to remember, though, is the people that are listed in this display here, all those people, are basically listed here. So it's only going to show you a screen full at a time. So right now it's got 5 people per page. So all of these 5 people in this list here are also displayed on this map. And if we page to the next page, like right here next, then those people are going to be different. Okay, so we're going to have a different list down here, and we're going to have different, basically, pin marks on the screen. So you're only going to see here the people in the page that you're on. That's important to remember. And you can also, the interesting thing about this geographic method of search is that you can also specify a distance here. Okay, this is in miles. So if you only want people who are, within, let's say, 50 miles of Texas, then you can select that here when you search. And so you can narrow it down by proximity. So, and that would include people around the border of Texas, for instance, within 50 miles. And so this is another way to search. And it's not necessarily the activism map. I mean, we called it here the member locator right here. And so it functions kind of like the activism map, but it's got a little bit more of a graphical interface. It's kind of nice, but once again, it also requires you to fill out your member profile fields. So make sure you fill those out if you want to participate in the site. And that's why we put all this stuff on the participate menu, because you have to participate to use the function. And by participate, we mean you have to join the site, at least as a basic member, which is free, and then you have to go in and fill out your profile fields. And so let's go back to the home page. So then the question is, how do we fill out our profile fields to make sure that people can find us? And the answer is we come over here to the hamburger menu. That's what these 3 horizontal lines are. The buns are the top lines and the bottom lines, and the middle one is the hamburger. So that's why they call it a hamburger menu. We click on this, and we can click on My Profile here. We can see we're logged. So we're going to click on Profile, and then it'll take us to our profile, and we can fill it out. So here's our profile, and this is the information we filled out. And we can change we can edit this by clicking on Edit. So if we click on Edit, it takes us into the fields and allows us to, and they're grouped. So the base information about us, the location information we'd have to fill out so that people could find us, and then the volunteer positions, the questions that people answer. So we'd have to fill those things out, and then we'd have to click on Save Changes. So that's how you populate your member profile to make sure that people can find you, so that you can participate actively in a law study group or an political activism group or whatever you want to do with the other members. So let's scroll back up and go back to the home page. And at this point, this concludes our coverage of how to use the activism map and the member locator and the member profile search. Those 3 different ways to locate other people. We hope you've enjoyed this video. We hope it helps you understand the interface to the site better. And we look forward to working with you, all of our esteemed members. We really enjoy the people that come to our site. They're very smart people. They're very studious. They're very principled. They're spiritual people. They're just good folk. And we thank you all for coming to our site and participating. Thank you, and God bless you all.